Hi, this is Jeannie, and this is my podcast. Jeannie Goes to the Movies. I haven't done a movie review for a while. I wasn't compelled to because I wasn't really excited about the films that came out until like The Flash came out. Like when I saw the trailer, I was just like, dude, I just gotta watch that. And it was one of the only movies of late, after the pandemic that I've really been excited to see. Um, Not only because I'm a huge DC fan, like I literally have seen like all the DC films except for like Suicide Squad 2. So that's a meh. But literally, I've seen all the Batman films, both the worst ones, including the George Clooney one, and Michael Keaton, and even the recent one, Robert Pattinson one. That one I wasn't so excited, and I am a huge DC film buff. I grew up with watching the original Superman. That was like one of the films, the first films actually that superhero films have just copied, including Spider-Man. Like they literally copied from the original Superman because it set such a like high bar for all the movies that came out after. And the Batman film with Michael Keaton, it set it even higher as well. And I remember just growing up, watching the movies in the 90s. It was just amazing to watch like Michael Keaton, and I was so excited. I didn't expect Michael Keaton to be here like in this in the Flash until like they did the trailers, because they were kind of like they didn't really drop the trailers until like um when it became closer to the showing time. And I was just like excited. I'm like, I just gotta watch that movie. And not to mention, I'm also a huge Flash. I'm a huge Flash fan as well. Like the Flash, all the iterations of the Flash, including the 1990s one, including that one and the recent one as well. And I'm really just a huge DC fan. Not to say that I don't like Marvel. I'm also a fan of Marvel, but originally, like when you talk about superheroes and the superhero films, it all started with the DC movies, and that became like the template for even the Marvel films. Even the X-Men films copied from the DC universe. And I am just so thrilled that I got an advanced screening for The Flash. So this is going to be a non-spoiler review, and then I'm going to make a spoiler review later. I really loved it as a fan of the DC movies. I love even the Justice League. I love Justice League. One of my favorite films is The Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. So I watch that maybe every year. I have a copy of the film because I'm a huge sci-fi fan as well, not to mention a huge Superman fan, huge Batman fan. Like I'm just geeking out. So I did manage to score like an advanced ticket, but it was like the last advanced screening of the Flash because they started early. Like they started maybe I think some even saw it like latter part of May, and then first second week of June they kept having like advanced screenings. And I managed to get like the last one before it comes out. It comes out actually tomorrow. The first screening, usually officially it's a Friday, but there's always like the advance or the pre what you call that? Anyway, every Thursdays, like when it before the weekend, you can actually watch the film already. So it comes out tomorrow officially. You can catch it on Thursday night. But I'm so excited. I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't get the advanced screenings maybe earlier on before all the spoilers came out, because unfortunately, if you watch like the internet videos and the movie reviews, even if they say like, oh, this is a non-spoiler review, they still reveal something about the film. And being a fan, and how my mind works, I'm like, oh, okay. So if you are a huge fan of DC universe, the DC films like I am, you'll be really happy that about this film. It's really entertaining. I heard that it was a comedy, but I was just laughing, like, and I rarely laugh in films because I love comedy, but I rarely giggle and laugh in films because I can't explain it. I don't really laugh like it in a lot of films when I see it. And this one, I was just laughing from like the first scene all the way. It became more dramatic later on, but the first act and the middle act more comedic, and then it turned into more like darker tone on the third act. And I was just laughing out loud, and I was really enjoying it. And I coming into the film, I already knew like, dude, Batman's Michael Keaton is there. Um, the Flash is there, and there's like Supergirl. I'm all in, and I wasn't disappointed. And there's like people that I'm surprised that they're just giving this like 72% on Rotten Tomatoes or whatever the score is right now. But for fans like me, I really enjoyed this film. It made me laugh, and it actually made me cry. It's at the core of this film, it has a heart. It has like an emotional center, and which is the reason why this this film is so good. Like in my eyes, I don't care about the other critics. Like I'm the example. I'm like literally the example of a DC, like an actual DC fan, and I loved it. It wasn't just fan service. It was about grappling with grief and grappling with what if, and which is such a crux of all of the superheroes. They usually have like a tragedy or that single point in their life, their reason for being, that turns them into who they are as a superhero. Spider-Man had that when his uncle died, Batman had that when his parents died, Superman, he had that sort of when his entire like Krypton um like disappeared from the universe. So there's usually like a turning point for all superheroes, that this is what defines them. And the Flash, it's always been like his mom died, and what if he could turn back time and undo everything? Of course, they copied from the Flashpoint, which was a huge comic comic book iteration of like the story, and but they made it their own, and then they added like characters here. And I kid you not, I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to watch it again. I'm going to support the film because it's a really good film, which has at its core, it's really for the fans, like the true fans such as myself. I don't care about the other people, hating on the DCEU. I don't care. Like for me, it's one of the best like superhero films because you really are engaged in it, and it's all about the story. It's not more about the spectacle. Although I love Marvel films, the thing about the Marvel films, it turns into like a spectacle. It's like, yeah, CGI, like everything else, and characters. There's too many characters, and not all of them are well developed. But in this movie, The Flash, they are like, you really connect with them, all of them, including the side characters. And it's just a really good film, like with an emotional center, and which deals with the question of, what if you change that turning point in your life? What if you change that? Does that change everything? And he answered it in this, The Flash, or Barry Allen, he answered it in this movie. But it's in a way that's so entertaining. I was just entertained from scene one all the way to the end. And there's like a spoiler. I'm gonna make a spoiler review as well, but there's a cameo, and I'm pretty sure people that have been scouring the internet already know about what the end credit is about, which I really enjoyed. Actually, it made me like chuckle. I'm like, oh yeah, they literally went there, and it's just amazing. I'm not going to spoil it for you, but if you are a huge DC film buff, such as myself, like I had the comic book, I had the Batman comic book. I was a huge Batman fan, even the animated Batman. Grew up on Michael Keaton. Um, Superman was, the the first like superhero film that really started it all as well. And I grew up on that, and I love this film. And I'm really glad that the director, he just didn't care. Like, he's like, I'm just gonna give the fans a really good movie that they really like, and just gonna be entertaining. But at its center is the core, like, question of, if we change who we are in the past, will it change everything? So anyway, just watch it. You will enjoy it. It's so entertaining. I'm already gonna be watching it again and again and again. And I'll be making a spoiler review, which will just deal with everything that I saw in the film. And thank you very much for watching.